I have found the albino.
Indeed, you have found the Albino Oracle to be exact. Today I'll be sharing my thoughts with you on the movie Winchester, the latest project from the Spirig brothers who you may remember from the movie Jigsaw. Winchester is loosely based on the life of Sarah Winchester, an eccentric heiress to the Winchester Rifle Company fortune following the death of her husband. Winchester, played by Helen Mirren, is haunted by the thought of the thousands of people that her family's rifles have killed over the years. This guilt, combined with a fear of supernatural retribution, pushes Winchester to the edge of madness and the belief that the only way to stave off the spirit's revenge is to constantly add and build onto her California mansion to provide the spirits with a final resting place. So I'll admit, I went into this movie with expectations. Growing up near the Winchester mansion, it's a story that's always intrigued me. It's a real-life haunted house you can actually walk around in and explore. What kid wouldn't love that? The house itself is this bizarre labyrinth of secret passages and staircases that lead to nowhere, and this cobbled-together layout of rooms that really leaves you feeling lost and trapped as you zigzag through all of these different corridors. It's a place unlike anything else you've ever seen, and whether you end up seeing Winchester or not, I'd highly recommend checking out the Winchester Mansion if you're ever in the San Jose area. The Spirig brothers clearly saw the potential of this house. They clearly saw the magic that this house possesses. At times it's almost like the house is a character in and of itself, and it makes a perfect setting for a horror movie. That being said, as a horror movie, Winchester is okay. It's definitely not great. Now don't get me wrong, there's a lot I like about this movie. First and foremost is Helen Mirren's portrayal of Sarah Winchester. Now Helen Mirren really doesn't require any introduction. She's won virtually every acting award imaginable, including the Best Actress award for her portrayal of Queen Elizabeth II in The Queen, which Mrs. Oracle tells me is just outstanding. It's not that common for a horror movie to land someone with her acting chops, and she really is a delight to watch. Every time Sarah Winchester's on screen, you just feel her power and her presence. She's intelligent, quick-witted, stern, but also vulnerable and overwhelmed by the burden she carries, this grief for all of these thousands of people that she feels her family is responsible for killing. Though she's used sparingly, she's really not even the main character of the movie. She's definitely the matriarch of this massive mansion, and she doesn't take any grief from man or ghost. On that note, the relationship between Mrs. Winchester and Dr. Eric Price is another high point of the movie. Dr. Price is hired by the Winchester Company to perform a psychiatric evaluation of Mrs. Winchester to determine if she still has the mental capacity to stay on as the owner and operator of the Winchester Company, given all of the erratic decisions she's been making regarding these building projects related to her house. Initially, it feels like Price is just going to be that cliche skeptic, the guy who comes in any horror movie and just tries to explain away all of the unusual activity that's occurring at the Winchester Mansion. But we quickly find out that Price is struggling with his own demons. He is fighting his own battles and has his own sense of loss related to the Winchester rifle. Price's psychological evaluation sessions with Mrs. Winchester are some of the best scenes in the movie. Price quickly learns that the diminutive Mrs. Winchester is every bit his intellectual equal, and that he's not the only one doing the evaluating. Their relationship evolves over the course of the movie from an initial skeptical hostility to a partnership where Price eventually finds out why he was really brought to the Winchester Mansion. So we have a great setting, an intriguing relationship between our two main characters, and a captivating female lead. So what went wrong here? How did this not translate into a great movie? I think the simplest way to put it is that the direction the storyline takes just falls flat. And the horror movie elements just come off feeling really tired. To take another opinion from Mrs. Oracle, it would have been interesting to see how this movie played out if it hadn't been written as a horror movie. Because the horror movie elements, they just don't deliver. They try over and over again to startle the audience with these jump scare moments that just fall flat. They don't work. I can't think of one time that anyone in the theater reacted audibly in fear of any of these moments. But that doesn't stop them from continuing to throw them at us over and over and over again. Also, there's this connection between Mrs. Winchester's nephew and one of the evil spirits that are plaguing the house. It just reeks of horror movie cliche. By the end, he's literally doing the monotone singing that we've seen kids do in horror movies only a million times. So the final point that I'll make has to do with the third act. Now, the plot device that's used to set up the final supernatural confrontation that's supposed to be the climax for the movie, it just comes out of nowhere. And it's a real mixed bag. On the one hand, it does tie together a number of the elements that had been laid out in the beginning of the movie. So in that way, it's satisfying. You do feel that this was a whole story and that the rules that applied in the beginning of the movie still apply at the end. But the conflict itself, the thing they have to take on, feels really shoehorned in. It's just dropped in out of nowhere. So while you do have these layered in ideas from earlier in the movie, the problem just doesn't feel significant enough for us to really buy in and be satisfied with it. So overall, I really wanted this to be a good movie. I had hopes that this movie was going to capture that mystery and the magic of the Winchester story. And so for that reason, I was excited about this movie. And it's not all bad. It's an okay movie. Seeing a movie with Helen Mirren is always a good idea. She's a great actress, and that holds true in this movie every bit as much as it would in any other movie. But as a horror movie, I just don't think that everyone will be satisfied with what they put forward here. If you don't need your horror movies to be that scary, you might like this movie. If you like movies set in the early 20th century, you might like this movie. And if you have some connection to the Winchester story, this could be the movie for you. But overall, based on the characterization, the quality of the storyline, the novelty of the writing, and just the audio-visual presentation that they give us, I give Winchester a C+, maybe say 80 or 77 out of 100. It's not bad. Lots of people will enjoy it. But I just think that they needed to decide whether or not they wanted to make it a drama or a full-on horror movie, and they should have committed to one or the other. But those are my thoughts. Hopefully I'll see you next time, and remember, if you need to know, ask an albino.